If you're a CPA, here are 5 ways you can help your client minimize the risk of an EDD, IRS, or SBA audit. The first is, if your client receives credit card payments, make sure that they receive a 1099-K form every year and that the gross proceeds on that form match or are lower than the gross proceeds listed on the income tax return. Now, there's reasons why the income tax return might report income less than the 1099-K, and this is because the gross proceeds do not include chargebacks, refunds, and returns. Those are not reflected in that number. The second thing, if your client has more contractors, independent contractors, than employees, you might consider asking your client for some substantiation to make sure these workers are properly classified under your state's law. You're going to want to ask your client for evidence of an independent business, such as an EIN number for these workers, whether they have a website, whether they have a business entity, such as an LLC or an S corp, and whether these workers have clients other than your client as customers. These may indicate an independent contractor, or at least an independent business. You'll also want to confirm with the general ledger that it reflects all the payments reported to these workers and that those payments are accurately reported on an income tax return, as well as the 1099 forms that your client is supposed to be filing every year for services paid for more than $600 per worker. Next, you want to look at the categories and the items listed, the transactions listed under those categories for independent contractors, such as commissions and fees, contract labor, outside services. Those are some of the typical ones. So make sure that what's reported there are truly payments to independent contractors and not payments to employees that are, disguised. Next, if your client is still in a business, they may be required to provide a tax clearance certificate. Now, we've had numerous clients that have had audits while the company is being sold because escrow will typically request from agencies that collect sales tax, such as in California, the CDTFA. They'll ask for a tax clearance certificate, the buyer will. So to make sure that there's no open issues, no open taxes when they buy the business. They don't want the liability. Well, that sometimes triggers a sales tax audit. So you're going to want to look through the general ledger, making sure the proper amount of sales tax liability and the payments is reported on the sales income tax or the sales tax return, as well as the income tax return. And lastly, if your client received an SBA PPP loan and your client received an inquiry from its bank requesting additional information or documents, you're going to want to review the financials provided to the SBA initially, and also review the general ledger to make sure your client qualifies for the PPP loan, the first round, and even the second if they applied for the second. Once there is an inquiry from the bank, based on information we obtained from SBA, there's an open investigation, and failure to respond accurately and properly to that bank inquiry could result in further criminal investigation. And if the improper documents are provided and do not substantiate the financials, then that would obviously give justification for a further investigation. I'm John Milikowsky. We enjoy working with CPAs. We support CPAs in answering questions, especially reviewing tax returns before they're filed. We keep businesses in business. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to give us a call.